Mickalene Thomas, she was born in 1971 in New Jersey. She's based in Brooklyn. A lot of her work deals with the gaze, also with thinking about her gaze as a queer black woman and what that can bring to a conversation about art history, what's been absent, and how she can kind of claim spaces for, particularly in this show, women of color, black women who, when she was looking at art history, she wasn't seeing women that looked like her, women who looked like the people who were heroes and idols and mentors to her in her life, her mother, her family, her friends. So it's really about inclusion and empowerment.
The gaze is that art historical practice, primarily of men looking at their female muses. And there's a kind of ownership that takes place, mostly that we're aware of through this sort of art historical lens. Mickalene has sought, I think very consciously from the beginning, to turn that concept of the gaze on its head, so that basically the gaze doesn't denote ownership, it denotes collaboration.
It's the first time that my work has been given this platform to present the sitters forward, to put them in front, to sort of really celebrate them in a way where you can see the various bodies of work that has come out of each sitter and how my relationship is with them and how I'm investigating and looking through different tools and materials. And I think a lot of times, you know, there's this idea or lack of understanding that these are real women, right? And I want people to feel that sense that it's not just me choosing and plucking a woman from some obscure place and thinking about them, that these are relationships that are built.
So the first gallery is devoted to her mother, Sandra Bush, which was her first muse in grad school at Yale. She was asked by a professor, a photography professor, to make a series of work about someone she had a difficult relationship with. And she and her mom had a very fraught, estranged relationship. And so there was a lot of kind of healing and rekindling the relationship through that series and as time went on. Her mom at one point was an aspiring model, so was very confident, beautiful, statuesque, and subsequently informed, I think, Mickalene's interactions with her sitters. The next gallery is devoted to Mickalene herself, and she talks about how thinking about self-portraiture and using herself as a subject was really vital to think about how she was depicting others, to sort of kind of put herself in that position, was really critical to think about thoughtfully about what it means to be a subject.
All of those photographs came from sort of the search of who I was and identity and breaking down stereotypes of black women in mass media. It's about visual play and it's about visual manipulation and desire, right? And women are beautiful and I'm attracted to women, you know? It could be my libido lust, I don't know. But yes, sexuality, desire, all of those things that I put in my painting is very important to me, right? Because it's how I see the women in my life. It's how I want the world to see them, you know? And it's putting them on the same platform of sort of the ideology of beauty. Also validating and seeing and allowing people to see us so we can be seen, so we can represent ourselves and say, we're here and we're present. And so often there's so many other images to look at us as the other in a negative light, right? So for me, it's a way of celebrating who we are. I think that is important as an artist to, whether it's personal, conceptual, whatever your genre or theory you're working from, whatever that basis is to find how it impacts the world. For me, it's all about trying to inspire and make young girls, when they walk into spaces like these, that they feel a sense of themselves and that they can see themselves, right? They feel that they're represented.